In a small, charming eatery nestled near expansive tea fields, Hana, a 24-year-old waitress, goes about her day. Her life, marked by simplicity and quiet routines, unfolds under the vast skies and the looming shadows of distant mountains. The eatery, a favorite stop for locals and weary travelers, is filled with the rich aroma of brewed tea and the gentle hum of conversation. On one such late afternoon, as the sun begins to dip behind the mountain ranges, casting long shadows and painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, the door creaks open, announcing the arrival of an unusual visitor. In walks Mr. Harrison, an elderly man whose presence commands immediate attention. Dressed in a perfectly tailored dark suit, his white hair neatly combed back, and polished shoes shining under the fading light, he carries an aura of wealth and a trace of profound melancholy. Hana, caught off guard by the striking figure, can't help but notice him. As he chooses a table near the window, the soft glow of the evening sun highlights his sharp, weathered features, adding an air of mystery to his solemn demeanor. Their first interaction is cautious, tinged with an undercurrent of curiosity from both sides. Mr. Harrison's deep, deliberate voice breaks the usual murmur of the eatery as he orders, "A bowl of noodles and a cup of hot tea, please." His eyes, piercing yet sad, linger on Hana longer than necessary, seeming to assess more than just the menu. Hana, feeling a mix of discomfort and intrigue, responds with a polite nod and a faint smile, her mind swirling with questions about this impeccably dressed stranger whose sadness seems almost palpable. As she retreats to the kitchen, her thoughts are preoccupied with the mysterious man. Who is he? Why does he seem so out of place yet so familiar with the surroundings? This encounter, though brief, marks the beginning of a story that will entwine their fates in ways Hana could never have anticipated. As the seasons change, the quaint eatery near the tea fields witnesses the blossoming of an unexpected relationship. Mr. Harrison, now a familiar presence, finds solace in the warm smiles and attentive service of Hana. With each visit, he sheds layers of his guarded persona, revealing glimpses of his past. A past shadowed by success, but marred by loneliness. Seated always at his favorite table by the window, Mr. Harrison begins to share more with Hana. Over cups of steaming tea, he speaks of his once joyful home life, now just echoes in the corridors of his large, empty mansion. "I was married once," he confides under the low hum of the eatery, his voice tinged with a sadness that the years have failed to diminish. "She was lovely, my companion in all things but fate." His voice trails off, lost in the memories of a love that death prematurely stole. Hana listens, her heart touched by the vulnerability of this powerful man. She finds herself drawn into his world, moved by the raw honesty of his stories. The connection deepens, rooted in shared moments of genuine human interaction rather than the superficial exchanges of daily commerce. Then, on a night painted with the silver glow of a full moon, Mr. Harrison makes a decision that would forever change the course of their lives. As Hana clears the tables, he remains seated, the flickering light of an oil lamp casting shadows over his solemn features. He waits until the last customer leaves, and then, in the quiet that follows, he speaks. "Hana," he begins, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "These moments with you have brought me a peace I thought I'd lost forever. I am old, and my days are waning, but my heart wishes for more days like these. Would you consider being my companion? Not out of pity, but perhaps for a shared comfort?" The proposal hangs in the air, a fragile moment stretched thin by its implications. Hana stands still, the weight of his words settling on her shoulders. It's a lot to take in, a life-changing decision wrapped in the guise of a simple question. That night, as she returns to her small room above the eatery, she contemplates her future. The decision looms large. not just a matter of the heart, but a leap into a world so different from her own. By morning, touched by his loneliness and sincerity, and moved by a desire to escape the confines of her current life, Hana agrees. "Yes, Mr. Harrison, I will join you," she says, her voice a whisper of hope mixed with uncertainty. As dawn breaks over the eatery, their new journey begins. A pact sealed not just by necessity, but by an unspoken promise of mutual solace and companionship. With the exchange of vows beneath the soft glow of the early morning sun, Hana steps into a new world, far removed from the cozy confines of the eatery. Mr. Harrison's mansion, perched on a hill surrounded by sprawling tea fields, stands as a grand yet imposing structure. Its walls, lined with history, hold secrets that echo through its vast halls and shadowed corridors. As Hana crosses the threshold, she's enveloped by an air of luxury that is both alluring and alienating. The mansion, with its antique furnishings and opulent decor, speaks of wealth and power, but its silence whispers of solitude and secrets. Mr. Harrison, ever the gracious host, shows Hana through the labyrinthine home, pointing out paintings and artifacts collected from around the world. Yet, with each step, Hana feels the weight of the mansion's eerie atmosphere settling around her like a cold mist. The housekeeper, Mrs. Quinn, an elderly woman with a stern demeanor softened by age, meets Hana with a reserved nod. As she guides Hana through the household rules, her voice drops to a hushed tone. "There are rooms that remain locked, areas of the house we do not clean after dusk. It's best you follow these rules without question." Her eyes, heavy with unspoken knowledge, dart nervously to the shadowed corners of the grand hallway. Hana's days begin to fill with routine, yet the silence of the mansion is unsettling. The nights, especially, are thick with a growing sense of dread. The wind howls through the crevices, and sometimes the sound of footsteps echoes down the empty halls, where no living soul seems to tread. Hana tries to dismiss these sounds as the settling of an old house, but the seed of doubt is already planted. One evening, as dusk turns to night, Mrs. Quinn finds Hana in the library, a room filled with leather-bound books and the scent of aged paper. "Be careful, young miss," she whispers, her eyes scanning the dimly lit corners. "This house, it watches." The warning chills Hana to the bone, leaving her to wonder what lies beneath the surface of her new, opulent but lonely life. The mystery deepens when Hana, driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, decides to explore parts of the mansion that seemed unnervingly quiet during the day. Her discoveries: a locked door she hadn't noticed before, whispers that seemed to call out her name from the end of the long corridors, and shadows that move just beyond the corner of her eye, begin to fray her nerves. Despite the beauty and comfort that her new life affords, Hana finds herself caught between the allure of her new surroundings and the chilling secrets that the mansion guards. Each day, as she learns more about her new home, the mansion seems to close around her, a beautiful cage crafted from secrets of the past. The grand clock in the hall chimes midnight, echoing through the silent corridors of Mr. Harrison's mansion, as Hana, unable to sleep, wraps herself in a shawl against the chill that seems to seep from the very walls. Driven by whispers that rustle like leaves in the wind and the housekeeper's cryptic cautions, she decides to confront the mansion's shadows. With only the moon's silvery light as her guide, Hana tiptoes through the labyrinthine halls, her heart beating a frantic rhythm. The mansion, bathed in eerie moonlight, reveals a different face by night, one that is less welcoming and more secretive. She recalls Mrs. Quinn's words, "Listen, but be wary," which now pulse through her mind like a drum. Drawn by a compulsion she can't explain, Hana finds herself before the heavy door to the basement, a place she's been expressly forbidden to enter. With a steadying breath, she descends the creaking stairs, each step stirring dust and old secrets. The air grows colder, the darkness deeper, but it's the silent whispers of the past that truly chill her blood. In the dim light of her lantern, Hana's gaze falls upon a neglected corner of the basement, where old boxes and furniture are haphazardly stored. Amidst this chaos, she discovers a hidden chest. Her fingers tremble as they trace the intricate carvings on its lid before she dares to open it. Inside, she finds a collection of documents, old letters, photographs, and most crucially, a leather-bound journal, its pages yellowed with age. The journal, belonging to Mr. Harrison's late wife, contains entries that reveal a life far removed from the happy facade that was once portrayed. The words, penned with increasing despair, speak of isolation, control, and a growing fear for her own safety. He watches my every move, and I find my world shrinking around me. One entry reads, the ink blotted with tears. As Hana turns the pages, the weight of the late wife's sorrow fills the air, suffocating and heavy. The final entries, frantic and hurried, hint at a plan to escape the mansion's confines, an escape she may never have achieved. The implications of these revelations send a shiver down Hana's spine, painting Mr. Harrison not as the lonely old man she knew, but a figure far more sinister. Emerging from the basement with the journal clutched against her chest, Hana realizes the gravity of what she has uncovered. The house, with its opulent facade, now feels like a prison built on secrets and lies. As the first light of dawn creeps through the windows, Hana knows that the truth can no longer remain buried. With the journal as her damning evidence, she faces a crucial decision: confront Mr. Harrison or flee the mansion that has become a beautiful trap. But the truth, once known, cannot be unknown, and Hana understands that her life will never be the same. The coming day promises not just sunlight, but a revelation that will illuminate the darkest corners of the mansion. As dawn breaks over the estate, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Hana stands at the threshold of decision. The mansion behind her holds not just the echoes of a luxurious life, but the shadows of a truth too dark to ignore. With the journal clutched tightly in her hand, she finds Mr. Harrison in his study, the morning light casting long shadows across his face, revealing a man she no longer truly knows. "Hana, you're up early," Mr. Harrison remarks, his voice calm yet carrying an undercurrent of suspicion. Hana, summoning all her courage, confronts him, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. "I found her journal, the one your wife wrote. She was unhappy, afraid. She wanted to leave," Hana declares, watching as Mr. Harrison's facade cracks, his eyes darkening. Mr. Harrison rises, his demeanor changing as the truth he had long suppressed surfaces. "You should not have pried into things that don't concern you," he states coldly, his authority wavering under the weight of his exposed secrets. The air between them thickens with tension as Hana retorts, "I had to know the truth, and now that I do, I cannot stay here with you, not knowing what you might be capable of." The confrontation reaches its climax as Hana decides her path, one not paved with gold, but with the grit of moral resolve. She leaves the study, Mr. Harrison's calls echoing unanswered behind her. Packing her few belongings, she leaves the mansion, the symbol of her captivity, and steps into the light of freedom, her heart heavy yet hopeful. As she walks down the mansion's long driveway for the last time, Hana reflects on the journey she has endured. From a waitress in a small eatery to a woman who uncovered the hidden darkness of her wealthy husband, her life has been transformed irrevocably. Determined to seek justice, Hana approaches the authorities, the damning journal in hand, her story compelling and her evidence undeniable. In the weeks that follow, the legal battle unfolds with the weight of truth on Hana's side. The court sessions are rigorous, with testimonies that paint a stark picture of Mr. Harrison's duplicity and the tragic fate of his first wife. As justice prevails, Mr. Harrison is held accountable, and Hana is granted the mansion as part of the settlement. But rather than dwell in the shadows of the past, Hana transforms the mansion into a beacon of hope. She establishes a refuge for women who have suffered from domestic abuse, turning her pain into a purpose. The mansion, once a place of secrets and sorrow, now resonates with the laughter of children and the support of a community healing together. From the ashes of a life I thought I wanted, I built something far more meaningful. Hana reflects, standing in the gardens of the sanctuary she created. This is my home now, not because of the walls around me, but because of the lives we touch every day. As the sun sets on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the estate, Hana knows that while some doors close, others open to paths we never imagined, leading us to find strength, justice, and peace. If this story has moved you, if you felt the shadows of mystery and the light of justice in Hana's journey, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Join us to explore new narratives and uncover truths that transform lives. Hit the subscribe button below and be part of a community that believes in the power of storytelling to change the world. Your support helps us continue to bring these stories to light.